Welcome. In this video I'm going to be taking a look at the Zahyox S1207 downcut spiral bit. So this is provided to me by the distributor, but they're not compensating me for this video and they're not reviewing it before I post it. If you find this video helpful and you want to purchase one of these, I'll put a link to it in the description. And if you use that link, it helps me out a little bit and doesn't cost anything extra. So let's get this open. So this is a solid carbide bit. It has a nano coating on it. That's to keep the bit cleaner and cooler. This is a triple flute bit, so that will give you cleaner cuts. So this is a downcut bit, so this is going to press into the wood fibers, and that should reduce tear out. It's a 1/2 inch bit, so you'll need a 1/2 inch collet for it. The cutting length on this is 1.5 inches, so you can cut thick material. So this would be good for dado and grooving, or just using as a piece of art, because it is very nice looking. So I just wanted to take a close-up look here on my bench. Let's head to the shop and test this out. Okay, so I have the bit installed in this router here, and we're going to be cutting some dados. And to do that, we'll be using these offset guides. So this is just some scrap wood. So I have a straight board screwed onto this 1/4 inch hardboard, and I have 2 of these. And I want the distance here to be greater than the distance between the router bit and the edge of the router. Now something to point out here is on this router base, there's multiple sets of screw holes. So these here are flat. So the screws in here are regular machine screws that are flat. And when you put those on, you can adjust this base. That allows you to center the base on the bit. These screws here are wedge shaped, so it puts this base in a fixed position. So you can use the flat ones and actually center the bit, but these wedge screws are going to fix this in place so it doesn't move around, because I want this reference edge to be the same distance from the router bit every time. Now it might be a different distance from any of these edges, but I'll just make sure I keep this edge against my guide. So the first thing I'm going to do is route this to cut this down here to make it the width from the bit to the edge on both of these, and that will give us our offset guide. Okay, so I've taken these 2 pieces of scrap board and turned them into a precision router jig. So I have a board here. Let's say I want to put a dado in here, and I want to dado so it will receive this board. So I can take my guides here, and typically you would square this up. I'm just doing this for demonstration, so I don't really need to, but, well, maybe I will, I don't know. So I can butt these up against this here, and then when I take this out, the gap in here is going to be the same thickness as this board. So if I route this out with the router, using that same reference edge, the dado it cuts should be the exact same width as this. Now, if you squeeze this or don't have it tight enough, it can have some slop in it, so you want to play around on some test pieces before you do this technique on your actual work. So let me start getting this clamped down. So I will square this up. I do have a square. I'll put that on there, and I just have to square one edge of this template. Okay, I think that's good right about there. So let's try it. Now for the depth, you'll want to play around and do some test cuts to try to get an accurate depth. You might have 1/3 to 1/2 of the way through the receiving board, but for this demonstration, it doesn't really matter. So let me get this cut out. Okay, that routed very smoothly. So I tried this out already, it seems to fit. Let's get the template off to see how it looks. Now I did have just a little bit of splintering at the end here, but the dado itself is just buttery smooth. It's super, super smooth. So let's try this in here. And this is not the cleanest board here, but you can see that fits in there just perfectly. Now if it's too tight, you can make sure when you butt it up against there, you're not pressing it really hard. Or if it's too loose, you can make sure to press it a little harder. You also want to make sure you don't have any sawdust or anything in between there. That gave us just a perfect dado there. And again, we can look here that the bottom of this dado is super smooth. It has those triple flutes in there, which gives you a super clean cut. And the sides are also very, very smooth. So that was the Zahyox solid carbide triple flute 1/2 inch spiral bit. There are countless applications for a bit like this. You can use it to clean up edges. You can use it for rabbets, dados, grooves. The triple flutes give you a really clean cut. It has that coating on it to keep it clean and cool. Now this is solid carbide, so it should stay sharp for a long time, but you do want to make sure that you don't drop it or hit anything hard against it that might chip it. But if you take care of it, I think it will give you a long life. So that's all I'm going to cover in this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. If you like this video, please click like. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate if you could do that. And thanks for watching. Until next time, goodbye.